You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, presented by the Only One Media Group. This is the people's choice for quality interviews, celebrities, and special guests. Hosted by Demetrius Dinny Reynolds. Call in to join the mix at 701-801-9813. For the complete archive of episodes, visit onlyonemediagroup.com and be sure to like us on Facebook at Vigilantes Radio. We welcome all. Enjoy the show. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds. Enjoy the show.
Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, guys? Again, welcome to another episode of Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I'm your host, Dini. We have another special guest for you guys, so you definitely want to stick around for that. And as a matter of fact, text your friends, family members, and let them know that we are about to dive deep into another interview. Phone lines are now open, so you can tap in with us. All right, before we bring our special guest on, I do want to say that you have to enjoy being you. I bet you're like, what are you talking about, Danny? Well, rather than chasing after what you don't have, use your energy to more fully express what you do have. Instead of striving to be someone you are not, instead of conforming yourself to the world's idea of success, create and live your own definition of success. Be who you are. That's where, your most valuable treasure is at. Set free that beautiful, worthy person inside of you. Free yourself from worrying about what others might think or say or do. Instead, focus on being the best, most authentic manifestation of you that you can possibly be. You are complete and whole right now. There is no need to prove anything to anyone. There is no need to wait for happiness or fulfillment. They are yours when you decide to live them. This is your moment in which to live with all the richness you can imagine. Imagine being you right now. There isn't so much you have to contribute just by living. The one-of-a-kind life that is your destiny. It's more than okay to be you. It's the very best and most fulfilling thing that you can do. So enjoy giving your own special gifts to life and lift yourself up along with the world around you. Take that from me, Coach Denny. That is my word, and word is bond.
At dollarseed.com, all of our seeds are only $1 a pack. And we have online resources that teach you all about the rewarding hobby of growing your own plants, flowers, herbs, and vegetables. Imagine the joy you'll feel when your children actually help you harvest your first garden crop, or the pride of knowing you'll never need a florist again. Visit dollarseed.com and grow a little magic of your own for just $1. Dollarseed.com. What could be healthier?
All right. Again, welcome to the show. You're listening to VRL. That's Vigilantes Radio Live right here on iHeartRadio. And I'm your host, Dini. Our interviews are designed to go beyond the music, news, books, art, acting, films, technology, education, entrepreneurship, entertainment, and sometimes even past that thing that we call the ego. Our interviews are designed to go behind the scenes and into the minds of these incredible human beings. The ones who are out there giving it their all for me, for you, and for the world. Well, I want to welcome everyone. Today we have the incredible Susan Wendelken with us. Susan blends intense rock vibes with soft, soulful acoustic beats. Her album Alayne's Echo is a mix of her musical experiences, telling the tales of strength, love, and change. So let's dive in and explore her musical world, filled with diverse tunes and rich stories. And with that, let's welcome Susan to the show. Hello. How's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm great. I was listening to you while I was waiting to go on the air, and I loved what you were saying about people being authentic to themselves and not waiting, for that big thing that you can find. And I'm going to actually take what you said and kind of go a little off with me a little bit, but you can find ways to be happy, and you can find ways to be fulfilled even while you're trying to figure out what you're doing. You can still be happy while you're on that journey. And I know that sometimes people are frustrated because they're maybe in a job they don't really want to be in, and maybe they are at a point where maybe they don't exactly want to be, but, you know, all of those things are actually bringing you somewhere. And I had a lot of jobs that I didn't really enjoy, but having those jobs helped me to make this album, and having certain experiences, they're going to help you write the story of your life and share things that are going to make other people feel a lot less alone.
I love it. I love it. So before we get into the why and the how you do your music, we want to know about the who. How did you discover your passion for creating music?
So I would say that I started singing almost immediately after I started speaking. And I wasn't really aware of my voice being particularly good or bad or indifferent. I didn't really have any idea what I had. But there was an album, children's album, that Carole King did, a collaboration with Maurice Sendak, who wrote Where the Wild Things Are. And they had this little collaboration called Really Rosie, which, by the way, I highly recommend to anybody with kids, especially little girls. It's real empowering, especially because the protagonist is a little girl, and it's just a really great record. But my father walked by my room while I was playing the record and listening and singing along, and he couldn't tell what voice was me and what voice were these kind of semi-professional kids that were discovered, you know, on this record, you know, kids who were picked to sing. And that's when he kind of identified that I had talent, because he couldn't differentiate me from these trained voices.
Well, okay. So given that, I mean, you've dabbled in so many musical styles. How did your love for music start? I know, you know, the creation part, but just the love of, man, music is so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I had some really interesting influences when I grew up. So it was everything from like Broadway show tunes and like, you know, some really light things like that. And there was a lot of stuff like Harry Belafonte records and Aretha Franklin. And my mom liked a lot of folky stuff like the Mamas and the Papas and all those harmonies. And man, once you really hear great harmonies, I don't know how people I don't know how anybody doesn't want to hear, how anybody wants to hear anything else. You know, once you hear these great harmonies, it was addictive to me. And so then, you know, we'd be on drives and my mom and I would harmonize with each other, singing along with whatever was on the radio. And that's really from her that I learned about harmonies and how they, you know, just how they sounded and how to cultivate them. And she also taught me how to play piano. You know, when I was very, very young, I was probably 2 or 3 years old when I first got in front of a piano, and she started teaching me things. And there was a lot of music around me. My brother listened to a lot of progressive rock like Pink Floyd and Rush and stuff like that. And my sister liked sort of those mellower singer-songwriters like James Taylor and Billy Joel. And we're Long Islanders, so you really can't get away from Billy Joel if you live on Long Island. And so as I got older and I started kind of, I guess, rebelling against everything that was right in front of me, I really got a passion for heavy metal. And so as I, you know, progressed through my teens, it really became something that I not only loved to listen to, but I wanted to sing, because it's like releasing all of your emotions. You know, when you're singing heavy metal, it's like this great kind of, you hear people do kind of therapy these days, you know, releasing your emotions. They call it emotional release work. And I couldn't think of anything better than just getting all of that stuff out of my system the way I did with heavy metal for years. It was really kind of therapeutic.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if I should keep going, but
yeah, I love it. Keep going.
Yeah. So at the same time, I started also sort of playing some gigs around Queens with some friends of mine who did Irish music, and I really started kind of really started feeling it. Really started feeling that. Like there was definitely some Irish music in my life when I was a kid. You know, a lot of stuff in my my family's group of friends. They had parties, and there was a lot of Irish music around me. But I think that it was kind of buried with all the other stuff in there, and something just got reactivated when I started playing with these friends of mine who were from Long Island. They were from Queens. They were from New York City. They were from Ireland. They were from all over the place. And that became something that I started to feel very passionate about, and that really started to inform the way that I was writing, because the writing is so masterful in that genre of music, and it's a really interesting kind of music because it doesn't just have one sound. There's a lot of different sounds, you know, everything from Sinead O'Connor to U2 to Van Morrison to a million other like independent artists. So it really became something that I've been super passionate about ever since.
Absolutely. So can you talk about the obstacles that you face being a woman in the music industry?
Sure. Going back just a little bit before I even started playing music, as a kid, probably from the time I was about 5 years old, I was pretty consistently bullied, and a lot of that just had to do with external things, the way I looked, that kids thought I was ugly, kids thought I was weird, funny enough, kids heard me sing and said, she sounds funny, you know, so there were a lot of reasons why I was getting bullied, and so I don't know how smart it sounds that you're thinking to yourself, well, now that I'm done with school and now that I'm done with all that stuff, I think I'll get into the music industry, because who cares about looks in the music industry? I'll go into entertainment, because sure, no one's looking at you there. But that was a big obstacle for me for a while, was just that there were so many times where, you know, I was in a band for a pretty long time called One Step Beyond, and we were out there trying to market ourselves and, you know, chasing after the elusive, you know, magical record contract, you know, and we would, you know, get into these, you know, conferences and stuff like that, and people would say, well, you know, what does the singer look like? And we'd be like, dude, you work in radio. That's an audio medium. Why are you asking us this, you know? But, you know, that outer shell really was, you know, an issue for a long time. You know, it's something that I really struggled with for a really long time. And interestingly enough, when I did sort of move into the Irish music world, it is a world where really no one cares at all what you look like. They do not. They don't care how old you are. They don't care what you look like. All they care about is, do you have talent? Are you writing great songs? Are you performing? Are you a great musician? Are you a great singer? And that's probably another reason why, you know, I love it so much.
Absolutely. So your past has heavy metal influence, but nowadays your music is softer, acoustic based, which adds a total unique depth to your songs. But do you reference your heavy metal days any in your new music?
Sure. Actually, one of the tracks on my album, I took an Iron Maiden song and I sort of made it Irish by putting a solo. There's a sort of an iconic riff to the song. It's called Wasted Years. And anybody who was into heavy metal around 86, 87 will remember that it was one of their songs that actually did very well and charted pretty well back in the day. And it has this iconic riff that, you know, I heard it, and it does this kind of thing that's an octave where these high notes and low notes are complementing each other. And that's something that you hear the banjo do a lot in traditional Irish music. And I said, man, I would love to hear a banjo player play this riff. And then after years of nagging my banjo playing friends, I finally said, I'm just going to record the song and then they'll have to learn it. And so, yeah, definitely. And the other thing is, I mean, a lot of the songs, you know, my delivery is somewhat mellow on some of the songs, but every once in a while you hear that you hear that heavy metal girl. She peeks out from time to time. You know, I'm not screaming nonstop, but every once in a while there's a little bit of belting and there's a little bit of a little bit of raspiness here and there.
Absolutely. And speaking of Irish music or traditional Irish music, people sometimes mix it with Americana or American country. Can you help us understand the difference, but how also they're similar?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the thing is that a lot of people, when they, if they're hearing an Irish band that has a big kind of traditional theme kind of going through their sound, like the chorus, sometimes people will think that's a country band. But what it is that country music and bluegrass wouldn't even exist if it weren't for Irish music. You see, centuries ago, people from Ireland, even before, you know, the big famine, even before that, people were coming over from Ireland to America, and a lot of them settled into the Blue Ridge Mountains and in Appalachia, and or some people will say Appalachia. I think they're both right. It's like tomato, tomato. But they settled into those areas, and through time and evolution, the music that they brought with them evolved into country and evolved into bluegrass. So people aren't necessarily wrong to put it together, but it's kind of cool if you know the distinctions and you can sort of know the difference. And it's great when somebody who loves one genre discovers the other. Although a lot of people in Ireland love country music, so they don't really need any help discovering country music. But a lot of people who like country music, it's really great when they really experience traditional Irish music and they hear that correlation.
Absolutely. So I hear about some struggles with TikTok. What's the story with you and TikTok?
They don't know me. I've been trying to upload some, funny videos and things like that with my music, and they keep telling me that they can't. I got these automatically generated messages telling me that they can't verify the copyright. They can't verify the rights to the music, and I'm like, dude, I own the rights. They're my rights. Tell me how to show you that these are my songs, and I'll be happy to show you. But all I get are these, automated messages. There's I can't find a real person to answer me and say, oh, okay, well, just send me that certificate from the copyright office, or send me something from ASCAP that shows that you've registered this, or show me the mechanical license that you got so that you're allowed to do that Iron Maiden song. Whatever it is, there's no one even answering me, and that's a little frustrating.
Yeah. How has it impacted your music and your connection with fans?
Well, TikTok is probably the biggest platform right now, and I have a couple of older things that are up there from when I first started uploading things, but I'm kind of stuck now, and I can't share anything new. So, certainly I have, it's great to reach people on Facebook, and I have a lot of Facebook followers. I have a page, the Susan Wendelken music page. And so, but, there's definitely a generational thing where it's pretty much, I'm sure, millennial and older. And I'm not hitting as wide of an audience as I would like.
Absolutely. Man, TikTok is a huge place, one of the fastest growing social media platforms out there. Yeah, they gave me a hard time too. You're not the only one.
If I could just get one guy on the phone, or one lady, whoever.
I'm probably ticket number 1.9 million.
I feel you. Oh.
All right, so your album Alayne's echo is pretty diverse. How does it represent your musical journey?
So, so just beginning with the title, Alayne, L-A-Y-N-E, was my mother's middle name. And just like a lot of women, she liked her middle name better than her first name. And her name is actually kind of her mom and her aunt sort of put their names together. It was Gladys and Alayne, and they sort of mushed their names together and came up with Alayne, and that was her middle name. So it taps into a little of, you know, the fact that my mother, you know, both of my parents, but my mother teaching me piano and teaching me harmonies, even a little bit of guitar, actually. I don't play very well, but I play just enough to write with it. I can write songs with it, but I would never dare to perform with it, at least not now. But my mom taught me all those things, and the album is really in her honor because in my family, my mom was always kind of a character, and I think that and both of my parents have passed on, and I think that there's a lot of gravitas around my father, and for good reasons. He was a great man. But I think that my mother always wanted a little bit more respect in life, and so it gives me a lot of pleasure, and it makes me happy to really honor her in this way.
Absolutely. All right. So let's get ready to play Wasted Years. Before we do that, would you like to give us a peek at what this song is about? What is the story behind this song, Wasted Years?
So Wasted Years is the Iron Maiden cover, and I think, you know, in a lot of ways, it's pretty self-explanatory, and I think it really taps into exactly what you were talking about before our interview began today, and it's about, you know, enjoying the moment that you're in right now, and don't keep, you know, looking over your shoulder and trying to figure out how to get back that time it's not available to you anymore. It's in the rearview mirror. It's done. All you can do is enjoy this moment and move forward, and realize, as he says, and this is word for word, he says, realize you're living in the golden years.
Absolutely. All right, guys, here it is, Wasted Years by Susan Wendelken. Then we'll be back to put her in our traditional hot seat. That's where she can perform for us, whether that's rapping, singing, poetry, spoken word, giving advice, telling a story, telling a joke, or playing an instrument. The choice is hers. But for right now, here it is again, Wasted Years. Stay tuned.
From the coast of gold, across the 7 seas, traveling on far and wide. Now it seems I'm just a stranger to myself, and all the things that sometimes do, it isn't me but someone else. I close my eyes and I think of another city goes by in the night. Ain't it funny how it is? You never miss it till it's gone away. And my heart is lying there. It will be till my dying day. So understand. Don't waste your time always searching for those wasted years. Beside me, you'll stand and realize living in the golden years. Too much time on my hands, got you on my mind. Can't tease this pain so easily when you can't find the words to say. It's hard to make it through another day, and it makes me wanna cry and throw my hands up to the sky. So understand.
All right, all right, all right. That was truly magical. All right. Wow. Let's get ready to bring Susan back. Hello, hello. You're back live with us and in our hot seat. What are you going to perform for us?
So I'll give you 3 choices, and you tell me what. Okay? So I can give you a joke. You mentioned jokes. I can give you a joke in my best Irish brogue. It is a highly inappropriate joke, so I don't know if it's clean enough for iHeartRadio. Or I can tell you a gig story about karma, or I can sing a little something for you.
All 3?
You want the highly... So can I tell a highly inappropriate joke on iHeartRadio?
Yes, you can. It's the internet.
Okay. So this joke takes place in Ireland, which is why it's fun to tell it in a safe brogue. So there's a little town, and in this town, everything is centered around the church. All the talk of the town, everything that happens, you find out about in church. So there's this rumor going around about a ghost, and everyone in town is talking about the ghost. Everyone in town is saying they've seen it, they touched it, all this, right? So Sunday Mass comes, and the preacher says, all right, he says, I want you to raise your hand if you're going to tell me that you've actually seen a ghost. Most of the congregation raises their hands, like 90%, raise their hand. He says, all right. He's thinking it over for just a second. He says, all right. He says, I want you to raise your hand if you're going to tell me that you've touched a ghost. Nearly half the congregation, raises their hand. He says, I can't believe it. He says, right, all right. He says, I got it. He says, I want you to raise your hand if you're going to tell me you've made love to a ghost. One little man with sunken eyes in the back of the church raises his hand, and the priest goes running to the end, and he says, Flanagan, you're going to tell me you've had sex with a ghost? And Flanagan says, oh, Jesus, Father, I'm sorry, I thought you said goat.
Oh, Susan.
So there's my highly inappropriate joke.
All right, that was fantastic.
So what would you like next?
Okay, let's do the song next.
Yeah, I think we're coming up on 30 minutes, so we may only have time for the song. So here's what I'm going to do, just because one of my earliest, was Janis Joplin. And, she's got one of the most famous a cappella songs that any woman can do. So I'm going to do this now. Ooh, here we go. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? My friends all drive Porsches. I must make amends. I worked hard all my lifetime. No help from my friends. Oh, Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes-Benz? I don't know if I should do the whole thing. I think that's probably enough.
Oh, nice. I love it. You have an incredible voice. Wow.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed. So before I let you go, Susan, releasing your first solo album at 51, I hope Become Contagious. Can you share more about this step and how it influenced your life in music?
Absolutely. So, I got to say, I know a lot of people are they have mixed feelings about YouTube and the internet and all of those things, but, that really changed everything. And it changed the way people were pursuing their dreams. And it's given people a lot of agency. It's given people a lot of opportunity to act for themselves and not wait around for somebody to make things happen for them. And listen, nobody can promise anyone else that they're going to explode like Justin Bieber did on YouTube. But certainly you get to see a lot of people with a ton of followers on all these different platforms, and you just never know what's going to happen for the next person. And these days, I'm sorry, but people who are in their 50s look fantastic. They do. I mean, you know, you look at the Foo Fighters, or, you know, I mean, you know, some of the actors who are out there, you know, they look great. And I understand there's reasons why some people look great, but a lot of people look great anyway. And so a lot of the stuff that used to be an issue really isn't an issue. And let's just take the physical side out of it. You know, if you have enough talent, people are going to recognize it. You get yourself out there, and a lot of people are going to recognize your talent. And so, I got a little off point there for a second, but it was a big deal for me to put out this record, and I was 51, just on the verge, actually, of turning 52 when I released it, and I'm 52 now, and I feel great. I feel, you know, I mean, sometimes my lower back doesn't feel great. My boyfriend will say, "Baby, we are on the 5th floor." He goes, "Everything falls apart on the 5th floor." But honestly, I've never felt more energized in my life. I've never felt more hopeful in my life. And when I say that I feel hopeful, I don't expect stardom, nor do I even really want stardom. But I am really hopeful that my career is really just taking off as a solo artist, that I have more to say and more to do and more people to reach. You know, I don't have to reach billions, but if I reach a lot of people and a lot of people get something out of what I have to say, then I'm really gratified by that. And I hope a lot of people, you know, hear this. And if they're hesitating and wondering if they should try it, you know, I really hope that they do. I really hope that they take some chances and take those risks and invest in themselves, you know, and I know that's not always easy to do, but, you know, there are all kinds of ways that you can do that. You know, there's a lot of inexpensive ways to record yourself. You know, I'm very untech savvy, so I did hire producers to help me, but a lot of people who are savvy can do this themselves, and it doesn't have to cost them, you know, really much of anything. You know, there's a way to do this, and there's a way to get your talent out there. You know, it's so important to speak up for yourself and say what you need to say.
Absolutely. Where can our listeners connect with you online and listen to more music?
Absolutely. So I have a website. It's susanwendelken.com. And then I have, like, you know, my business is called Broad Street Music, so you could also just go to broadstreetmusic.com without any spaces in the middle, just broadstreetmusic.com will also take you to my website. And you can also find my Facebook page, which is, you know, you go to Facebook and then Susan Wendelken Music. You can find me there. I'm on Instagram. It's Wendelken, Badass Irish Singer. And I am on TikTok. If you look for Susan Wendelken on TikTok, I am there. You can find some of the stuff that I've been posted, and hopefully, eventually, I'm going to get through to somebody over there, and I'll be able to post more videos.
Absolutely. All right. Listeners, just in case you didn't get those links, no worries. I will have them in the description of this episode and in the show notes, so all you guys have to do is just click those links. Well, what a ride we've had today with the wonderful Susan Wendelken. Susan, your stories and tunes from Alayne's Echo have been a joy to explore. Thank you for opening up your world of music to us. Your battle with TikTok and pressure as a woman in this industry. To all our listeners, let's keep discovering new tunes, new artists, and until next time, let the music play on. Thank you so much, Susan.
Deanie, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take care and have a great night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have you struggled budgeting your finances? Don't worry, you're not alone. HumbledBudget.com, that's HumbledBudget.com, is the help and resource you've been searching for. HumbledBudget.com is a personal finance and educational website with a great variety of topics when it comes to budgeting, taxes, investing, and the popular topic of FIRE, financial independence, retire early. HumbledBudget.com has a goal, and that's to help you reach your financial dreams, no matter what your goals are when it comes to finances. It doesn't matter where you start, where you come from, or where you are right now. HumbledBudget.com can help. What are you waiting for? Take that first step to the financial life you've dreamed of and go to HumbledBudget.com. That's HumbledBudget. HumbledBudget.com.
Thank you, my Vigilantes family, as always, for checking out my podcast over here at Vigilantes Radio Live. All episodes are available for free download, and you can grab it from either Spreaker.com/Only One Media Group, Spotify, Castbox, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, the app Podcast Addict, or over at our website, which again is onlyonemediagroup.com, and that goes for every single show that we've ever aired. If you like to request some music or send something for me to play, email it to vradio@onlyonemediagroup.com. That is V as in Victor. And here's my disclaimer: we are genre free, we do not judge, and we absolutely do not base our opinions on hearsay but facts alone. And actually, scratch all of that, because all of my opinions are always right. That's the bottom line. This is my show, so deal with it. Just kidding. On behalf of myself, Denny, I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, either afterwards or live with us. Spread the word, because sharing is caring. We stepped up our game just for you guys and our guests to make sure that you have the best experience here on our show. Be sure to connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, and all social media sites, as well as Spreaker, YouTube. We always follow back. Okay, well, just remember to put yourself into everything that you do and never stop investing in yourself. Peace, love, grilled cheese, and talk with you later.
You are now listening to Vigilantes Radio, the people's choice for quality interviews, art, music, and hot topics. Hosted by Demetrius Houdini Black Reynolds of the duo No Longer the Hero. All episodes of this podcast are available for free download at www.onlyonemediagroup.com. This is a Seventh Sign Regime Rebirth Worldwide Syndicate exclusive.